Just working. Test, 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 test. Hello, 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 everyone. My light's just got wonky again. I have to rip out all my lighting. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's broke. Bloody lighting. Right. Hello, everyone. This is a live stream. Nobody's watching. But today, as you can see by the card that you saw, it's Return to Maya. Rediscover, rebuild, create. It says AI decided that is the thing I needed to do. So this isn't an amazingly structured stream, because I'm not a bit bored of being amazingly structured. So this is hi Cliff. So this is really a stream for me and for other people interested in getting back into Maya, Autodesk Maya. And there's a huge fly just come in. Why? Go away. All the insects are coming in. We had thunder and lightning and all the electrics were going wrong before. Now my light's broken up. And the dogs will probably have a huge poo. So I don't know what's going on. Anyhow, so today we'll be looking at, just spending, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour, just refreshing ourselves and going through very simple part one of Maya. Now, what is Maya? Let's have a quick look. Let's go to Autodesk. Now. Autodesk. There we go. Now, Autodesk goes to Autodesk is a 3D. It's a company that produces all the lovely 3D things that people use. Some of you might, let's go to UK. Some of you might be familiar with 3D Studio or Blender or Lightwave or whatever. Some of them are free, like Blender. Some of them are paid for, like 3D Studio Max and AutoCAD, and so, you know, whatever. Blender being free is excellent software, but I prefer Maya. And if you've come from a Blender background, you might see it's slightly different. So what they do all sorts of stuff, like AutoCAD. Everyone's heard of AutoCAD, I hope. Let me know if there's any audio problems. We've got Fusion, which is for product design, which is very good. We've got 3D Studio Max, which I've used. It's very good. Revit, that's very good. I think this is Revit. I can't remember what Revit is. We've got Civil Engineering, AutoCAD Lite. That's 2D CAD tools. Then we've got Forma Design Collaboration, which is just like a cloud thing like you've got in Photoshop. Then we've got Maya, which is what we're going to look at. We've got Inventor, Flow Production, Flow Studio, AI-driven mocap, camera tracking. That's meant to be very good. But we're not bothered about them. We've got Forma. They're really trying to push this Forma thing. But the one we're interested in is Autodesk Maya. Here it is. You can download a free trial, which will last for 30 days. If anyone's interested in following along, you can buy it for, look how much it costs per month. I'll explain how you can get this cheaper, because they don't really tell you very much. There's other things here, but they're not telling you. So the reason I use Maya, not Blender, is I've used Maya, not Blender, is because a lot of the visual effects studios and game studios use Maya because all the tools and pipelines are made with Maya. And a lot of the animation is made with Maya. A lot of rendering is also developed and looked at with Maya, because they've got support. You pay a lot of money, someone will come out and they'll sort you out. So it's £1,812 a year for one user. And that's a lot. Or you could do an annual subscription for £151 a month. No. Or a monthly subscription for £220. Or you've got Flex, it gives you tokens. So we won't worry about that for the moment. So what is it? We've got some lovely... Oh, we've got some nice movie here. Let's watch this movie. Will that play? Oh, Autodesk movie. Let's look at their lovely movie. I don't know if you can hear it, but wow, look, that looks like the Matrix. You can animate 3D assets with it. You got a pencil tool. Very good. Very useful for animation. Let me just turn down volume for this a little bit now. Oh, hang on, let's go back. We've gone too far now. Let me just turn the volume down a bit. I didn't realise it was this loud. Okay. Go back. Okay, right, where were we? We were up to... Well, it's got blue pencil, import, export. Yeah, blue pencil. We'll look at all these different options. Like they're making balls. I've done this with the students before. Yeah, that's one of the exercises I used to do with the students. I didn't know you could export them and bring in the pencil into it. Pencil ghosting, yeah, we've done most of this. This looks interesting. They've increased the amount of blue pencils so you can go over it a bit. What's this? Build solver, yeah. Build solver, yeah. No. If you want to do this sort of nonsense, you go to Houdini, which is another level of sophistication. There's they used to teach this sort of stuff. Let me just turn that volume down a little bit more. I have got a key to do this, but I'm a bit worried about touching stuff. Yeah, just animating stuff. We'll have a look at this as well, animating things, and this live link. Well, we won't be doing live link. The USD stuff, we'll have a look at it, but it's still a bit I understand it, but this was just coming in when I was teaching. But it's very clever. It's a sort of agnostic in terms of materials and what else? I think it uses Alembic underneath, which Alembic is a mesh thing, which means agnostic, software agnostic. So Maya that you have. What's he doing? What's he doing with that? Point snapping, yeah. Material IX. Oh yeah, Material IX is a USD thing. I'm not going to head that. I'll go through what actually going to look at in a minute. Then we've got USD in Bifrost. Good luck with Bifrost. It works, but it's oh yeah. Yeah. That's if you've got a nice big machine, this would probably work, but don't worry about it. We won't be looking at. Well, we might have a look at Bifrost, but it's all to do with. It's like I can't remember what it's called in Blender. I can't remember. So you can move stuff around and put surface. This is the stuff I'm more interested in, is the booleans and the modeling, although we won't be the booleans. We'll have a look at booleans, but it's okay as an effective modeling tool to begin with, but no, otherwise. Yeah, union, that's going to be that's really good. Yeah, well done. You see a lot of people in who use Blender actually just go mad on some of these Boolean tools, but it's okay for doing for blocking out shapes. But I don't think you'd see many professionals use it. We need to apologise. We will be having a look at this in a later session when we don't automatically reperturb. Oh my god, manual. That wasn't too bad actually. I don't think anyone would use a... Oh, what's this? Faster with mesh components. I don't know what you're doing there. Oh, that's soft selection. Yeah. Oh, much faster now. That used to be really slow. Oh, that's much faster now. What else have we got? We've got... What the colour changes? Yeah, okay. Mesh wireframe opacity settings. That's useful. Yeah, I like that. That's a new thing. Uh, what I would do is use one of my old creatures to do some retopology and rigging. And then you've got lots of interactive tutorials, loads of tutorials for all this. There's really no point for anyone to make tutorials anymore, which is not what I'm doing. This is more for me than anyone else. Oh, well, yes, okay. What's he doing? What's he doing with this? Oh, yeah, there's shading, new standard surface presets, Chrome, yeah, just, yeah, and rendering it out. That looks lovely. Viewport support for unlimited light. So that's different. There was a limit before. This is cool. What else is there? Can I turn this volume down a bit? There we go. What's this? I can't remember what that was. NPM. What's NPM? Oh, yeah, that's particle-based stuff. Won't be looking at that. You don't use. Nobody uses that. They use Houdini for that. Cloths and stuff. You might want to use Maya, but no, Houdini. Aero solvers. This is useful for doing clouds. Oh, this was that different field solutions. It's never going to be as good as Houdini. Okay, but you can do some smoke and stuff in it. It just doesn't look as realistic because, you know, volumes just aren't. It's just not refined enough. What's the word? Powerful enough to do a lot of volumes. Color picker. Yeah, the color picker has always been the bane. And pop on and off and slider multi create plane mesh. Yeah, there's lots of generators and what have you in here. Render fast with Arnold. That's always important. We'll look at rendering. I've got a new denoiser. Very nice. What else we got? Triplanar shader. Well, every software should have a triplanar shader. If it hasn't got it, it's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Interactive, iterate on scenes more. Interactive, iterate. Okay, that must mean within Blender. Okay, Arnold rather. Arnold USD works with instances more. We'll look at instances, but only when we start to model things. So that's sort of that's just an overall. That's a nice little overview of Autodesk. And there's just lots of lovely pictures here of knights and a raccoon, and yeah, that raccoon may have been made and animated, but the hair would have been Arnold, would have been Houdini. And then we've got some other things that nobody's ever seen. So yeah, it does AI now, and approximate complex character deformations. And when we come to do some deformations and rigging for a character, which we will, and hopefully it's a little bit more interesting than that. Yeah, well, approximate complex deformations in models is a real chore, but a machine learning deformer. Yeah, that's going to work well. Probably not. It's got motion maker. You can do all sorts of lovely effects. Modular rigging, look dev, modular rigging. Never heard of that. This is a new thing. People might use it, but most riggers in the industry won't be looking at that, I don't think. Look dev, which is an agnostic material authoring plugin, but doesn't seem to work through Arnold, so we'll give that a miss. We got about, we got Final Fantasy and Guardians of the Galaxy, and let's have a look. So it's got AI tools. They always push the AI at the beginning. We've got lovely animation tools. They've got grouping animations now. You can have different tracks and animation. It is primarily an animation tool. There's some VFX tools. Nope, won't be using them. That's what Houdini does. And then we've got rigging tools, which is, taking mocap data in and applying that to creatures. So we'll be just starting. Oh, was that thunder and lightning? Oh, it's all gone. It all blew away. That was weird. So what am I paying for this? Well, I'm certainly not paying £151 a month. I've paid for this a year, and it's 200 200 and £390, £298, and because it's an indie license now, they make it very difficult rather, to find out where the indie license is. So if you're interested, it's called Autodesk Area, which is their independent sort of what do you call it, a community of artists and stuff. And the dismiss, where am I? Set as dismiss. I don't know what that's about. Come on, load. Yeah, am I in the UK? I'm in the UK. So it's got different forums and stuff, and you ought to see some of the stuff, but I shouldn't laugh because we've all been there. You know, some stuff that is just terrible. Like, look, this is the nice latest artwork of my house, and people put their art up, like the Armless Man digital sculpture, stuff like that. But within here, and I need to find it, learn. So let's go now to support educational product system requirements. It's here somewhere. If I go to Maya, let's see if that, okay, we've got Maya here. Are we back? Oh, we're back to here again, aren't we? So the free trial, it's somewhere here. It took me ages to find it. Let me just have a look at Maya Indie. Maya for indie user. Okay, I need to bring my light over because my light's gone wonky again. There we go. It's an article here. Right, so, and then we go, where can I access it? And it says Autodesk eStore for the area community. Really trying to hide it from you, but so that's the eStore. Where's the eStore? Autodesk eStore. What's the eStore? Nobody knows what the eStore is. Where's the eStore? Yeah, can anyone find the eStore? No eStore. But anyhow, it's 290 quid, and it's only limited to like one machine, and you can't make lots of money out of it. And there's other sort of things about it. But if you do get it, watch out, because it will. Sometimes it might upgrade to the more expensive one. Anyhow, so that's Maya. It's a 3D modeling tool. Let's bring this out. I've got two documents that are down here, and I just must move them across. I made a document because I can, and we'll just make that a bit. So I made a document. I got Claude to make a document for me. It might not be correct, you never know, but I needed a curriculum as such, or sessions. So just to let you know, I'm well, not an experienced. Am I experienced? Yeah, experienced VFX and animation professional teacher. Although I have got professional oh, the client's come on again. Professional certification in Maya and Nuke, if you wanted to know. So this is returning to Autodesk Maya after a period away from the software. It assumes complete working knowledge. Yep. Re-establishing fluencies with Maya specific tool set. So it's tool focused and principle driven rather than object specific. So each session here will teach us, or me, a category of tools and the reasoning behind them, and you can do whatever you want. So for the next 12 sessions, I've decided to focus on, I've broken it up into interface and workspace, navigation, preferences. What has changed since Maya 2020? Because that was I think that was the last one. No, tell a lie. I did use 2024, 2025. But there's not too many. It's like Photoshop. There's like loads. The deeper you go, you'll find the original at the bottom. What's that? Zooming made easier. I don't know what that means. Session 2 will be scene management, project structure, you know, saving discipline, or save discipline, renaming conventions, what units, how to name things. Session 3 is creating primitives, polygon primitives, transforms, freeze and delete history. And then and also, you know, making some prop. We'll be putting some cubes in here quite early on. Session 4 is edge loop fundamentals, because we will be building, and I'll show you what we're building a bit later. It's going to be quite, you know, it's not going to take too long today. About inserting edge loops, extruding, cutting, yeah, things like that. And then, although 4 and 5, I would have swapped them, but that's okay. Session 5, let me make that a bit bigger. I don't know if anyone can see it if they're not looking on there. How do we make it a bit bigger? Poop. Okay. So session 5 is extrude and inset, or intrude, I suppose. Local versus world space operations. You'll be looking at, you know, local and world space as we go along. Session 6 is booleans, non-destructive boolean nodes, cutters and baking. Now, booleans, it's okay maybe for blocking something out, but you wouldn't want to build anything with it. You see people in Blender rush through building a weapon just using loads of booleans, but when it comes down to it, it's going to look okay in the viewport. But when you're looking at edge loops fundamentals, and we'll look at edge loops, you can see that there's so much work if it works at all. But booleans used to be terrible. It used to be terrible in Maya, absolutely terrible. I used to tell the students to stick away, but slowly they've been building it up. There's a lot of boolean plugins for Blender, which is fantastic. Bevel and chamfer, which is hard and then we get into segment logic, hard versus soft edges. So if you're doing like soft curves or hard edges, and the logic between them, how to do it and how it renders. Then session 8 is deformers, how you can bend things, like if you made a nice tank track, how do you bend it round? How do you create a lattice of stuff? How do you select areas if you want like a lumpiness to something? How do you use that? So that'd be fun. 09 UV fundamentals, my favorite. Everybody hates it, it's my favorite. Using a UV editor, projection methods, unfold, scene placement, and texel density. This part here is fundamentally so much easier than Blender. You've got to remember that Blender also, like Maya, is resting on a legacy of community developer and plugins being brought into the ecosystem of this Blender. Then we've got Arnold, the substance, AI substandard surface, which is the shading, you know, about looking at PBR principles. Was that photo? I can't remember. Arnold render view, looking at the interactive renderer, and just applying materials and looking at materials and rendering them out and understanding why materials are, rather than just going, my volume is really high. Let's push that down a bit. That's better. Testing. That was really loud for a minute. Okay, I've just dropped it down. I might have the gain too much on my mic. Let me just turn the volume up. Testing. I'll just turn the volume down, the gain down on my mic. Is the gain going down on the mic? Is it working? Is it working? Maybe the gain doesn't work on my mic. Okay, well, we'll leave it here. And then we go into layer shaded, which takes us another stage towards shader networks, procedural shading, layered materials, like if you want those scratches or those dents, or not dents, or splodges or stuff that you sometimes see if you look at Substance Painter. This is not Substance Painter. Okay, so the inbuilt, I'm not going to go into Substance Painter, but if anyone's interested, go and have a look. Then we're going into lighting and rendering. So this is our 12-week session. 12 session map. Okay, so each session stands alone. Skip any session when you're comfortable. Shortcut tables are for reference. Blocks, note blocks, flag things that have changed. Tip blocks carry workflow. So today we're looking at the interface and the workspace. Okay, So this will be about like 60 minutes, maybe less. And for those who are interested, they can have this as a Word document. I made it produce a more printer friendly one, if anyone's interested, which is a little less pretty. Okay. And I'm just going to go through the whole session so you can have a look. What has changed since 2022 to 26? Open PBI is a new default shader surface. Yuck. So, but AI standard is the surface remains fully supported. Use it. Yeah, the preferences. Open PBI is okay, but because that's USD, Universal Scene Description, which I might get into. Okay, and then we've got into viewport navigation, the core hot tools. Thanks for that Rideau there. Is it Rideau or an orphan? No, that's not Rideau. It should be linked for that. And then we've got the core hotkeys. There's like a million hotkeys in here. Interface panels, attribute editors, viewport 2. We're going to be looking at the preferences, and we're going to be opening a scene. I'm going to be explaining the navigation and what all these bits do. We're going to be toggling, opening and closing the channel box, the attribute editor and outliner. We're going to create one primitive or a couple, move it, rotate it, delete it. And the goal is zero conscious fault about where things are. So the idea is to try and use muscle memory. Session 2 is about scene management, about working units, setting projects, so things automatically save and load from projects. Keep projects on local drive. Yeah, watch out. Keep it on a local drive and cloud sync the tools. Cloud sync tools like mine can corrupt my binary files if I sync mid-save, so watch out for that. Then we're looking at working units and naming conventions. Oh, great. That's good, isn't it? So we're going to establish a convention. This is all sort of stuff like which is what I used to teach the students about grouping and hierarchies of objects, displaying layers. This is great. And saving conventions, project name, session 1, version 1. Now, when we get to it, I'll explain that I was used to have something after that. I'll explain why. Tips: save ASCII rather than binary, because you can read ASCII files. You can't read Maya files. Right, okay. Then we've got primitives, construction, boxes and cylinders and rings and cones. Looking at the transform node. There's two nodes, the shape node and the transform. About freezing transformations, yeah, keeping your drop, because that's going to be important when you come to rotate stuff, collections and hierarchies, which is, yeah, if you imagine like you've got I'll explain it there, but it's the same problem here that you've got in a lot of okay, delete history. Construction history. When you build stuff, you've got history, channel boxes, and then we've got an exercise, edge loop fundamentals, double click an edge, shift double click. There's all sorts of menus and different methods of doing it, cutting, sliding. Okay, and then we're thinking about poles, not the North Pole. We're thinking about quads rather than triangles, extrude and inset. That's another basic work tool for the 3D builder. We've got Boolean operations. Now, don't know much about Booleans in here. Yeah, there's a legacy Boolean remains under mesh Booleans. It is immediately destructive, and this is the problem. There is no live node, no adjustment. Avoid it. Okay, don't go. Yeah, don't go. The only reason to use is compatibility or pipelines that expect the legacy behavior. I don't know someone who would use Booleans as a primary modeling device, but maybe they do. Bevel and chamfer, chamfering and beveling, what you might think in woodwork. Deformers, direct modeling, moving vertices manually. We'll talk about edges and vertices. Lattice deformers, that's quite fun for warping things, bending stuff. There's also other deformers that allow you to like make pipes and stuff. we'll have a look at those if we get a chance. And then we've got UVs, which is fun. Which is, you know, if you want to apply sort of textures to it, textile density. That's one that a lot of students forget about. Auto layout and packing. And session 10 is Arnold, physically based rendering core principles, about metalness and roughness and albedo, the base surface. Currently reflects under pure white light, not affected by lighting. Then we've got index of refraction for transparent surfaces. And then we've got something called the AI standard surface, which is, it's simplistic. There are better and worse methods for doing stuff. And it's got some core materials like painted metal, matte black, how to assign shaders, session exercise, layered shading. This is where we get into the hyper shading. People go, oh no, but it's the same methodology as if you wanted to create layered shaders within Blender. Blender's got some nice things. Maya's got some nice things in terms of that in that way. Normal maps in Arnold, layers, shaders, AI layered shader, which is cool. And it says use an AI about occlusion node. Yeah, right. Yeah, that won't work. Best off to paint it, to be honest. We've got ramp node, session exercise, and finally lighting and rendering, about creating lights and all sorts of fill lights, a standard 3-point lighting rig. And we'll also look at globe lighting, or they always go HDRI, and then put in an image that isn't high dynamic range. But we'll attempt to find a high dynamic range and explain that. Studio lighting, environment lighting, and post a photo, and then rendering out, render settings, AOV passes. Not specifically need to do that, but because I know Nuke, we can look at those in Nuke as well and see what that does. And then curriculum is complete, and that is our curriculum. So if anybody wants one of these copies, then just let me know, okay, if you want to follow along and explore. It's more of an explore rather than a set sort of horrible thing. So anyhow, I'm going to go down because I printed mine out. Oh, I don't know what that is. Go away. Now, the actual images that we'll be looking at is in documents in Maya. The actual thing that we'll be attempting to build in this object. So I might be building it offline. Is, if I go, is that the one? Is that going to work today? Yeah, it is. Oh, not this. It's this thing. This is a radio frequency tester thing where you put the aerial in and you test it. So this is an old piece of military equipment, and these are all from eBay. You can actually go and buy it. I don't know if it works or not. And it's a box. It's a cube. It's basically a cube. Let me make that a bit bigger so people can see. And I can fit that. Does that fit? Zoom to fit. There we go. So it's a strength meter. It's a field strength for detects antennas and things or whatever. So how do I go to next? Okay, can I do it again? Yeah. So, and it's got a strap. The strap might be fun. This might be a fun thing to look at. So this is the object that we'll be building. You can see it's generally just made of very simple, I would say components, but objects. Here we go. It's got a nice surface with chips and marks and stuff and bits of wear, which might be fun to do. It's got a nice label on top, sort of metal label, which might be interesting when we come to do some texturing. We can stick that on. Got scratches and wear, which will be really interesting to do as a layered shader. There's another one. That's not very good. Oh no, where did it go? Go back. Oh, that was a very small one. Okay, and it's also got this these controls. So we've got some nice controls, very similar. Okay, some nice simple sort of polygon modeling here, and maybe some extrusions, and we've got some nice curved edges, which will be interesting when we come to look at how to see what's the word for it, subdivide these surfaces. Got some nice little textures, and maybe a little texture here that we could probably build in Photoshop and put in a bit of rubber, some different textures, some different materials and stuff. This is going to be fun because these stick out. This is like these are punched or raised text. That might be interesting. Not sure how to do that yet. So we've got some different versions, different colors. There it is with the aerial here to detect signal strength. As another. Oh, that's a terrible image. And here's a nice image. There we go. Look at that. This is the sort of thing we see. So we'll be building all these objects, and they just sit on it. It's just a big box with a nice hinge and something to keep it waterproof there. All the same sort of, as you'd expect with military, same sort of colour. You see we've got a little bit of reflectivity on it. This is probably not plastic. What do they call it? The old plasticky stuff. It might be. I don't know. Nice big meters and knobs here for the military. Some big screws, some text. Why can I not go to the next one? That's what we're going to sort of be building on the way. So we come to sort of the next one will be setting a project and making groups for this. So we'll be looking at this object and thinking about what groups these objects are, because we've got knobs and buttons. There's a hierarchy of objects, so we're thinking about how to do that. Okay, so now here we are. We are in Maya. This is Maya, if I can remember how to use it. Are we in Maya? Yes, this is Maya. Let me just go to my next thing because we're going to talk about it. It looks complex. It's actually less complex than Blender. There's loads of different things in here, different menus and different stuff that we don't need to use them all the time. Don't need to know much about this. When I was learning Maya initially, I had a specific job to texture something. So when you're doing something, focus on what you're doing. So let's have a quick look through what we've got here. So we've got at the top, we've got the toolbar, and we've got a home button. And the home button, this is different, which it's got all your projects here, and you can open different projects and stuff. We're not worrying about any of this, but I hate showing the home screen on startup, so we'll get rid of that, and I'll just go to Maya. So that's the new sort of thing, keep all your projects, and also telling you about what's new and what's features. And there's a robot, look, smart bevel, don't use that, and integrated layer-based skinning workflow. There's all sorts of little helps and features, and a community, and also, more importantly, getting started. Like 1 million different getting started tutorials on here. Come on, let's go. Like it doesn't, that's not right, it used to be different. So you can start an interactive tutorial, which is terrible. Intro to lighting, intro to modeling. So we've got all this stuff here. Learning, we've got tutorial videos, all these are on YouTube as well. Intro to Maya course, Maya learning channel, whatever. There's like 1 million on there that you can look at, but this is mine. So just going through the different areas. So we've got a menu bar here, then we've got a little toolbar at the top there. Okay, now I'm going to keep this as big screened. Now if anyone wants it a different resolution, then let me know, but this is how I'm going to keep it. Then we've got the shelves, and the shelves have different tabs that have different tools for it. Okay, little tools on there. Now, not only that, yeah, that's the menus up the top. Then we've got this little modal pull down here. So we've got modeling, rigging. So if I go to rigging, the menus up here change. If I go to FX, the menu up here changes. If we go to rendering, the menu up the top changes. So why they did that? Again, this is a legacy thing. Yeah. Okay. So we've got modeling. I'll go through these in a minute. What the different bits do. Then we've got the shelves. You can make your own shelves if you want, and move shelves. You can drag them if I can remember how to. UV editor. So you can select different things like curved surfaces. Poly modeling is the one that which I always sort of hang on to. Now, just to explain, a lot of people are hotkey people. I'm not a hotkey people. There's only a few hotkeys I need. I like buttons. Okay, so you'll see some people showing off doing, oh, you press this key and you press that key and then this key and then that key. I do have a key thing somewhere here. Q on tablet. Let me just see if I can find it, or unless it's gone. Hotkey. What's it called? Password. Discord. Where's my hotkey? Stream controller. Flight tracker. Where's it gone? I had a hotkey thing here which would show the different keys I'm pressing. I will find that for the next one. Where was I? Yeah. So we've got the shelves. So I say sort of stay with polygon modeling and maybe go to rendering and Arnold. But the others, you know, so you've got the sculpting tools. We'll have a look at those. They might be fast enough on this rig. About rigging, animation, what have you. So this is generally the shelves at the top. Okay, the different bits at the top here. Remember that we've got, if you can't find something, it might be in the wrong mode. Now over there on the right hand side, we have workspaces, and we'll say we've got general with a star on it, and then we can go to modeling standard. Okay, so this is a workspace, changing the way the windows that can be used within Maya to do things. So for instance, you know, now I've gone to the modeling toolkit, it's given us a nice big view. It's got rid of all the bits at the bottom and some at the side, and you can see we've got combine and smooth and multi-components and objects and vertices and corners and faces, and I think that's UV selection. So you've got these as well, and we've got modeling expert. Good luck with modeling expert. I've seen some people use that. And then we've got sculpting. So we've got sculpting. You create blend shapes and use the sculpting tools up here. And then we've got pose sculpting. No idea. I think that's when you save poses for, like, if you're doing creature creation and, you know, you've got a deformation. That's an animated deformation in, like, it's a grimace on your monster, and you're trying, and it won't work, and you can actually create sculpt a new pose and save that and interpolate it between the different poses. UV editing, excellent. This is a UV editor. Then we've got XGen. Now we're not going to worry about grass. We've got rigging, and you can see we've got rigging with a node. Not sure I'm going to bother about using nodes in rigging, but some people do. Got the animation, which has got the animation editor at the bottom, like a dope sheet, and all the different things with different to select keys and change curves and interpolate different interpolations, like what's that, linear and spline and what have you, and plateau tangents, all that stuff. And then we've got the little play bar at the bottom and our little bracketed area for our keyframes. So we've got 200 keyframes is basic. Then we've got some others here like animation layers. And then we've got a sequencer. Then we got rendering standard. This is the rendering standard, and you can see we've got AOVs and property editors and outlines and script editors and or all sorts of stuff here all built up for, but let's not worry about that yet. Then we've got rendering expert, which looks the same, but I don't know. Then we've got mesh, motion graphics, Bifrost fluids, and if you ever get lost, then just go back to general workspace. Now, okay, that's at the top. What's down the left-hand side? If we look down the left-hand side, we've got our little toolbar. So we've got to select tool. Then we've got a lasso tool, so we could lasso some objects or vertices. That's quite cool. We've got a paint. If I had an object on here, I could paint the vertices. And if I hold B down, you can't see it because it's not selected. Then we've got the move tool. We've got a rotate tool and scale tool. Fantastic. Okay, and I'll explain the hotkeys on there. You can see the hotkeys actually. There's it's Q for select tool, and we've got then we've got W for the move tool. For the rotate tool, it's E, and for the scale tool, it's hover. It is R, so it's QWER on your keyboard for doing that. Down here, after that, some of the other tools that you like, most recent tool, last tool used will be here. So if you want repetition, you can do that. I'm going to explain the tools a bit later. Then we've got different panel layouts that you can quickly go to. Like we've got this one. We've got a 4 view, is that called planar? A planar view, a side view, and a view. And then we've got this one here, which hides the outliner. And this is the outliner is where all our objects are. And we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so that's that. We've also got a search. You can search for tools and commands, which we won't bother about. Then we've got the outliner. And if I move it across, this is where all the objects in your scene, okay, your outline of your object, a bit like in Blender or any other 3D package. And it shows all sorts. It's got cameras in here, perspective, top, front, side, a default light set, a default object set. You can search for them. You can filter them. If I click on that, there's no recent searches. You can search for stuff. You can display DAG objects only, shapes. You can turn stuff on and off here. I usually leave it as, and objects, you can just ask it to look for polygon objects. If I click on polygon objects, you see all the cameras disappear. So go projects, clear below, and it comes back again. So you can filter on things. So if you just want to work on lights or sets or GPU cache, okay, or subdivision objects, then you can do that, and you can show all of them, or you can, and you can invert, and we can look for different attributes. So that's as a filter there, and also we got the help bar. So that's the outliner. All our objects will come in here. On the next, let's just go from left to right. Then we've got the pane, the panel. Okay, and these are called panels, and we've got different views here. We can select the camera in the scene. We can look at a selection, frame all, frame a selection. A lot of these have hotkeys, like frame selection would be F. So if you had some objects or some vertices, you could just press F. Can view along an axis. That's interesting. Undo changes. Yeah, lock camera, select camera. Undo changes, i.e. when the camera moves. We've got shading. We've got wireframe, smooth shade all, smooth shade selected, flat shade, use default material, X-ray, wireframe unshaded. Lots of backface culling, that's useful. Smooth wireframe if you want to render it out. We've got lighting. Use all the lights. These are hardware lights. Flat lighting. And then you can select different objects. So if you selected some vertices and objects, you could hide the others. You can play blast it, which means just rendering out a quick thumbnail movie of what's happening in the scene. Then we've got everything in the viewport, like what can we hide and show in the viewport? Loads of stuff here. We've got viewport presets, save current selection. Then we've got a renderer. We can have viewport 2. which is generally the way you'd want to model. This used to be full of stuff. I bet there's loads of legacy stuff you can put on here. And then we've got Arnold, which is our renderer. And if I click to Arnold, you can see it rendering out. So this is an interactive renderer, but I'll turn it off. And we've got panels. Now, although this is a panel, this little window here, we can change it to, we can create a new panel. We can create a new panel. We can make it perspective. We can make it a, let's go to perspective. I can make it perspective view. Okay. I can make it a, create stereo. I can make it a side view. And you can see we've got this little gizmo up there. I'll explain that in a sec. We've got hypergraph. We can make it a hypergraph hierarchy. We can change the nature of what these panels are. We can tear off the panel. We can tear off a copy of the panel. We can edit the panel. We can save different layouts as well. So we can create and save different panels here. So save layout is let's have this perspective graph outliner. So we've now changed to perspective graph. A graph and outliner. So there's so many different ways of doing that. So we'll go back to, let's just clear that by going back to the general workspace. Now, if you find it goes a bit funny, we can go back to general again and you see, oh, it's not right. But we can reset the workspace. So, and that is, where's my reset workspace? We just be able to reset general to factory default. Yeah, so we can reset a workspace back to the default. Loads of different workspaces. You can have as many windows as you want and then break everything. So that's now on the toolbar here. It was a bit difficult to see because it's quite small. Let me change the resolution of the display. I'm going to change the display settings. Number 2. Okay. I'm going to change this actually. Let's go for we're going to go for HD. I think that's probably makes it more. Right. Okay. This is a little bit more like it. You can see a little bit better now. We're going to stay with HD from now on. I am in HD, aren't I? Did I change it to HD? Display settings. 2. Display. No. 1080. 1920 1080. Keep changes. Okay, so while we're looking at the let me just change that. I'll pull it out again. Pop. So just while we're looking at the interface, we'll keep it quite big, so you can see. So we've got a little button there that says Arnold. That turns the start and stops at Arnold in this viewport. So if I click it, it starts rendering what's there, and we'll stop it. Then we've got some define a crop window for Arnold, and we've got some other debug modes here. Then we've got select a camera. Okay. So select a camera. We can lock a camera. We can look at the camera attributes. So this camera here we're looking through, I've now selected this camera, this perspective camera. So if we look on the right hand side, we can see some values. And if I start rotating it, you can see these values change. So you can select a camera. Yep. Let's just deselect a camera. Or we can select it actually just by clicking on it in the objects. Then we've got bookmarks, so you can actually bookmark camera locations, like if, oh, that's a nice camera location, so you could hang on to that. Then we've got an image plane that would become useful, not in this session. We've got pan and zoom, never understood that. We've got blue pencil, which is great, which allows us to draw on a viewport, especially useful for people who are doing animation. If you don't know what blue pencil is what they used to use initially on animation frames to sort of develop keyframes, because they wouldn't photocopy or Xerox in those days, so they would use a blue pencil. A lot of animators still use blue pencil because your eyes aren't so sensitive to blue as the darker colors. When you pencil over it, the blue sort of moves into the background. And then we've got the different things. I can show and hide the grid, different ways of looking at the viewport. Let's zoom out a bit. Then we've got this is the film gate. Okay, so at the moment it's set to whatever that is. I can show the details on that. Then we've got, so that's film gate. So whatever the film is, I mean, if you're outputting to TV, you'd want 16:9 at a particular resolution. too worried about the resolution. We're more interested about the aspect ratio. And then we've got the resolution gate, which is 860 by 540. Is that 860? I can't even see it. Perspective view. There's little things to give you clues on here, like for instance down here in the bottom right we've got the little gizmo telling you which is the different axes. Like we've got Z is depth generally in Maya, and Y is up, which is reverse in 3D Max, I think it is, and X is across. So X is across, if you remember, X is across, and Y 3D Max uses Y and UI or Z depth. Anyone who's used visual effects before, done rendering, know about Z depth. Z is the distance into the camera. So we're on the other side. So if I move it round this way and we look at this viewer, you can make all these bigger if you wanted to. Z is in and out, X is across, Y is up. And where you see it pointing out, X, that's positive values. So where are we? Oh yeah, so that was yeah, film gate. Oh yeah, it gives a, where was the mask? Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm lost. So that's film gate. Then we got the resolution. Film, not necessarily the render resolution. Okay, remember that. It might be a cropping involved. So we've got render resolution. This little one here gives you its gate mask. So in a film you have a little gate, okay, apparently. So that gives you the gate mask, and we can also turn it into a line. You can turn the gate mask on and off. We've got different grids. So we've got fill grids for like TV or film, and we can change these to, let's turn that one off. So we've got, oh, hang on, let's be careful. We've got a fill grid, which is useful if you need to reference something in the grid. Oh, wow, that plays with my eyes. Gives you a standard sort of TV film grid, I don't know. And then we've got the safe TV safe frame boundary, which means anything out here probably might not see on your old cathode ray TV as it stretches around the back. And then we've got, so that's motion safe, i.e. you don't really want too much motion going over in the corner here because it'd be off the frame in ye olde TVs. Then we've got title safe, so any titling you want to sort of keep within this center. Then we've got, oh, by the way, the little tiny little bars between it, if you click on those, they open and compress them if you get fed up with it. Now they're all open here, but sometimes when you start up Maya, some of them have disappeared. Then we've got different ways of viewing things. Now I'm just, don't take no notice of that man behind the curtain. Q, come on, object on R. So I'm just going to scale this up. Okay, so here's a cube here. I'm going to disconnect it. Okay, there's a cube, a cylinder. We've got different ways of viewing it. So we have different ways of showing what's in the viewport. Remember, these are all viewport tools mainly. So I'll go through these one in a second as well. Or did I go through them? So we've got wireframe. Now the wireframe is really janky at the moment, but there is a button here to just smooth it out, but it still messes up. And I think because my drivers aren't set up properly for this, they're game drivers. So I might have to swap to game ready drivers for this. I don't think it's optimized. But yeah, you can see a bit of shimmering going on here. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that is. And then we've got shaded. Then we've got use a default material, which we are. Then we've got wireframe on shaded. Yeah, we're getting some artifacts here. This is definitely, at the moment I've got the super duper game drivers in here. So I might need to change to different drivers, but we're not going to worry about that. I suppose I can change to different drivers in the meantime. Let's have a look. We're going to have a look. Let's go to NVIDIA app. Okay, let's have a look. Now we've got drivers here. I've got, that's a game ready driver, and I've got the studio driver. So is it installed? Let me just have a look. Graphics, global settings, system, performance. See, I've got, so the drivers at the moment. So the studio driver. check for updates. So does that mean I've gone to the studio driver? I don't think it would work like that. Settings. I'm going to check that out. But this is definitely what you'd expect to see if the game ready drivers were here, unless I haven't got that set up. Hang on, file. It's file preferences. Preferences. Just bear with me a sec. I'll look at that later. And then we've got, so it's wireframe on shaded. Then we've got textured. We don't have textures on there. And then we have lit. Of course, we don't have any lights in there at all. Let's turn that off. Yeah, it's definitely a bit janky. And then we've got shadows, but we don't have any shadows. We have screen pace ambient occlusion, which I'm not going to explain. You can't see that. We've got motion blur, which you won't see it. Cached playback. Yeah, you need animation for motion blur. Then we've got the multi-sample anti-aliasing. Let's just see if that... Yeah, definitely something not happy here. Then we've got isolate select. So if we had two objects, we could save it. We've got X-ray view. So let me just make it shaded. We've got X-ray view so we can see through things, which is very useful if you have wireframe on shaded. You could see through objects, maybe. And we have X-ray active components. And then we have, let's turn it off. And then we've got X-ray joints, so you can see it. And then we've got exposure, so we can change the exposure and the contrast. Is that contrast? Gamma, rather. And then we've got the color spaces. Now, it used to have like millions of color spaces here. We're not even going to bother with that. We just stay with ACES 1.0 sRGB, which is, we've got untoned map, RGB. No, just stay with that. Okay. Right. Now, where are we? Okay, at the top, because resolution, let's turn off some of these things. Oops, let's turn off that and the gate. Okay, we've got this gizmo, and this is a gizmo that's come over from, I think, 3D Studio Max, and you can rotate it like this, and you can, what else have we got? We've got other things, default views, preferences. I can click on front and it'll go to the front. I can rotate it again, go to the front. I can click, go that way to the left, that way to the top. I've never used it. I always switch it off. And there's a reset button there. Yeah, it's okay. Remember, this is just the default panels we're looking at. This is what you'll see when you come straight in. Now over this side, we have the channel box. These are generally the three things you'll have. This panel, the default. Okay, we have the channel box. Explain that in a second. The attribute editor and the modeling toolkit. And if I go back to the channel box layer editor, we have different layers. You can put your objects into different layers and hide them or lock them or use them for visual effects. We've got display layers here. You can add and remove. We've also got animation layers if you want to do layer and one animation over the top of the other, or add to it or subtract from it. And so we've got, let's look at the channel box first. So if I select the cylinder, select the cylinder, thank you. We can see we've got, hi Andy, we can see we've got all these figures here. Now the important thing to notice, to remember and know in Maya is that although you're looking at the object, the shape of the object is this bit here. Okay, this bit, it's got a shape and a cylinder, and you'll find this common among lots of stuff. And the easiest way to do that is to use my handy dandy whiteboard. So we have, you can think of it, whoa, that's not right. Oops, let's go back. So you can think of it having a transform, and this is showing the X, Y, Z rotation positions of an object. We rotate and scale, and shapes are, so the cylinder is actually here. Okay, the cylinder, all the points and all the attributes it might have, like number of faces and everything, is all within here. So you have a transform and a shape. Okay, and that's important to remember. Okay, so when you move something, you're moving this, and the shape sort of follows along with it. It's not just everything in one. It's not just everything in one object. It's nice to think of it like that, but it's not. Okay, and sometimes you might have something. For in this case, the cylinder is built of something. It's got a construction, a constructor, a a thing that builds cylinders. So we've got number of faces, and so on, etc., etc. Number, I don't know what the number of faces, height, I don't know, number of faces, cylindrical, yeah, stuff like that. So you might have loads of different things underneath it that are all use this transform here. So just thought you needed to know that. So we have, and this is our transform here. So it's this polycylinder, but that's just, remember, that's just a transform, and we can show that in here if I wanted to do it. So if I go show objects and we go to transforms, display transforms. Now if I can see it, show objects transforms. That's not its attributes. Sorry. Show objects, auxiliary nodes. Nope. Used to be able to know how to do this. Asset, geometry, clear below, display, DAG objects, shapes. There we go. Yeah. So now we've noticed a little plus has come up, and you can see we've got the little diagonal here. This little object, that's cylinder, and the shapes underneath it. Not a good idea to have that on all the time. So we're just going to save the shapes, turn that off, and treat that as a shape itself. So the top of it says where it is. So if I move this now, if I move it, we can see the translate moving, and we can also move that ourselves if we wanted to. Wow, hang on, that's stepped. And if I was to scale it, so I move it on one direction, you can see the translate XY moving. If I went to rotate, you can see the rotation working. And if I go to scale, you can see the scale working. We've got, well, what am I doing? Different scales in different directions, and you can see it all working there. How do we put it all back? Well, okay, I can select those and put 0 in. I can select the rotation, reset the rotations, and I can put all this back to 1. Never put 0 in there, always put 1, because and that will put it back to where it was again. Now the shape, we've got a shape here. We've also got another input, and this is an important thing to think about when you've got Blender as well. Sometimes you have, it's a bit difficult to see within Blender, you have polycylinder. If I click on polycylinder and just pull this down, we can see we've got the radius. Okay, so I can adjust the radius. There we are. That is, just let me select this. This is way up. Okay, I'll explain that in a second. So we've got radius. That is going way up. Linear, hyperbolic. Let's do a hyperbolic. Radius. Yeah, it should be way down on here. Okay, that's got radius. It's probably because I don't know why that's being so aggressive today. We've got height. We can adjust the height. Actually, if I hold, is it control? Yeah, we can change the height. I don't know. They change the number of subdivisions. Is it Alt? So I'll do that. Oh, it's Shift, isn't it? No, hang on. Yeah, the Shift is better. Yeah, use the Shift, or maybe not. I'll remember it. It's very coarse at the moment. Number of height divisions and number of divisions on the height. So we've got. So this is when you create primitives. Some primitives is constructed from these attributes here. We've also got like round caps, create UVs, normalize, and what have you. And so let me just show you something quick. So if I create a cube now, we've got a cube now, and I'll just move it. There we go. I will get the studio. I'm going to have to swap, but does that mean I have to swap between drivers every day? Yeah, I can do that. It's not not a problem. So we've got, I'm sure there's an option in here. Anyhow, so select that. Come on. Oh, why have I not got? Wow. Okay. Whoops. I don't want a calculator. It's locked for some reason. It's decided to lock the cube. Okay. Have I got isolate select on by mistake? No. Okay. Now it's decided not to do anything. Ah, interesting. Decided not to select anything. Okay, it's definitely the driver in here. So we've got the cylinder. Let me just take the cube and ignore what I'm doing for the moment. I just need to delete, edit, delete by type, history. Don't worry about that. So now we've got our cube, hasn't got any construction in it. It's called a construction history, but it's still got these objects here, these parameters. There's lots of other stuff here. You could add new channels and what have you, whatever. So this is now so we've got these basic attributes here, but these attributes are actually just a subset of all these attributes. Okay, now it's starting to get confusing. Where we've got, there's the P cube, we've got all the values in here, all the rotations, we've got the shape, the polycube shape, the mesh controls, what maps it's got, tessellation, all this, render stats, object display, primary visibility, it's not working, object display, and so on, initial shading group, open BFR shader, we'll soon change that in the preferences. It's in the attribute editor, and that will come in useful at some point, but not today. So we'll go back to the channel box again. Any of these different things like render stats and stuff, we can promote up to here. So we could perhaps say like change other things coming up here. So any constructors that you have, like for instance the cylinder here, would appear under here. So this is like a construction history. Construction history can cause you big problems later on down the road. Right, so we'll just leave that as, and I'm going to just try to go to general and see if I can't reset this workspace. Let me reset that workspace. Yeah, I am not selecting it. Have I locked something by mistake? Let me go to a new perspective. Yeah, it's got locked, hasn't it? Well, this isn't going to be very good if it's locked. Is it locked in all the aspects? Yes, it is. I need to download drivers for this, but for today, it's going to be fine. So let's go back to perspective and go back to perspective view, because I'm still managed to rotate it. It's just the selection's not working, but I can select in the outliner here. Look, I've created a new perspective camera to check. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So where were we now? So then we've got the display layers and the animation layers. We're not going to worry about that. Down the bottom here, we have our animation slider. Then we have our bracketed animation here, our little slider here for animation. We're not going to worry about that. We've got bookmarks for the time slider. For instance, if you had like a million, you know, a couple of thousand frames, and that you can put bookmarks in there. We've got the standard sort of playhead for that, 24 frames per second and so on. Down here we can put commands and see what different commands that happen here. Yeah, okay, so how do we tumble up? I see stuff moving around here. How do we tumble? Well, you hold the Alt button. The Alt button is the button of use here. So it's Alt left mouse button, and I do have a tool which is not showing. I've migrated to a new rig and it's not involved, and I can't remember what it's called. But for next time, we'll have a little thing that comes up. So it's left, Alt left mouse button for tumble, Alt middle mouse for pan, and Alt right mouse for dolly. And that's it. There's a camera. There it is. That's perspective. That's perspective, I think. That's the perspective camera. And if I can't select camera either. I can go press F, which is frame all selected. Frame selected. So let's say I select the cube and I press F. If I press A, it's frame all. So that's really quick ways of navigating it. It's so much easier than some other software. Now, if I wanted to go into quad single view, I can press the space bar. That takes us through to a quad view, and something's popping up, and we'll show that in a minute. So if I hold my mouse over like the side view, press space, it takes us there. Now, if I hold space, what on earth is that thing? That's called the hotbox. This is like, oh look, I use the hotbox all the time. Look how posh I am. It's everything in this interface is here. For instance, there's the file, edit, create, select, modify. There they are, they're at the top here. We've got mesh, edit mesh, mesh tools. These are the different modes. If you remember, I talked about these. Most of these are under here. So I could go to Windows, workspaces. I could go to cache, create a new Alembic cache. I could create a NURBS primitive. And also, if I hold here and go across, it gives you context menus. Okay, like the layer editor. And if I click and go upwards, so go up, come on, go upwards, it gives me, I'm nearly there. Yeah, I've got to be up here. Perspective graph. There's like a million different, I don't know. I saw there's some of this I use. Dynamics mask, rendering masks. Are you going to remember all this? No. Hypergraph, outliner. If I, whoops, there we go. So I want to go back to perspective, I can do that. If I wanted to go to the channel box, I could just do that. Yep. If I wanted to go to, I've done what masks. So I could go up to, for instance, perspective graph. I can do that. Perspective. So I could just swipe it backwards and forwards. Wherever you want to, and also there's one right in the middle now. So I like to turn all these off. So if I go to hotbox controls and hide all, can't stand all that. Okay. So if I wanted to go to, say, perspective, I could just do that. If I wanted to go to front view, I could do that. So these are like gesture-based controls. Some people use it, some people don't. But up and down is quite useful. Top view, left view. So it's the center, I could go top view. And so if I go hotbox up, hotbox down, hotbox up. So that will take you to different views. So many different ways of using it. I used to use that a lot, but maybe just changing views, I could use it. But to be honest, there's so much in that hotbox that is awkward. Okay. Now the core tools, as I've mentioned before, are Q. Let's select an object because the selection, screen selection is not working. Unless I change, let me just change that. No, it's not selecting it. Okay, this is an interface problem. If I hold Q down, that selects move. Q is, sorry, select. W is move. E is rotate. And E is rotate. And R is scale, although you'd expect R was rotate, but not to worry about it. If I press F8, and see if it's working on here. Where's F8? F8, right. Oh, I have got annotate. That's not what I wanted. Okay, damn. I need to, my F keys aren't working. I need a proper keyboard. So if I press F8, it would toggle between object and component mode. So if I just select the cylinder, and we'll just go between object and component mode, which is, how am I going to do this? Okay, I'll do it like this. So we've got I can just right click over it. We haven't gone to the right clicks. Yeah, definitely the interface. So I can go to component mode, and then I've got that selected. So I can select components on it. Oh, it does it now, and I can scale that. Okay. Then we've got F9, F10, and F11 if it was working, which will go between vertex edges, and face components. And then you've got 1, 2, and 3. So let me just go back to component mode, object mode rather. If I go to 1, 2, come on. Yeah, the graphics driver is not catching up. So you've got 1, which is a smooth preview. Press 2, you get the cage, and press 3 is smooth. No. Whatever you do, do not build in smooth preview. Do not start building in smooth preview or even the cage. Build your curvature in. Don't pretend that smooth preview is going to work. No, just no. Don't do it. Okay, don't do it. So we looked at the channel box over here. Looked at the channel box, which are it says channels. It should be like exposed animatable channels. You can animate these if you had selected that and animate it. We won't get into that. We've got the attribute editor, which are all the attributes for that. Remember that polycylinder has got loads of stuff, and a shape has got something else as well. Polycylinder has shading groups. There's loads of stuff here. I'm not going to go too deep into it. So the channel, that's just a subset of what you can see. The most useful ones. The most useful ones you're going to use on this are to move it around, because it is it is basically was an animation tool. Looked at the outliner over here, where we have all the objects and the camera and the lights and the perspective, and if we did any rigging, we'd have that in there. And you can also show what's it called, materials in there if you wanted to, and shaders. And we've also got viewport 2. So we're in viewport 2 at the moment. Okay, that's meant to be default hardware accelerated viewport. But you know, it's not really going to, I mean, you can change some of the settings on this, but like the light intensity and GPU instancing and what have you, but that's not really going to help. And then these now, right, yes. Now, before we start, a couple of things to do. Okay, we've just gone through the interface. There's nothing fancy about this. There's loads of tools up here, but this is just the interface we're looking at. There's some other bits up here, like we can open and hide the modeling kit, and look at the weird character system that nobody uses, and go back to normal, and then look at the tool settings, the different tool settings, like the axis orientation, world object. But we won't be looking at those just yet. So we'll go back to the best one. I'll come here. Yeah, there we go. So just select the oh, now we're selecting it. How weird. Is that still playing up? Oh, now I can select it. What did I have? I must have locked something. Well, it's working now. That's good. Maybe it was something to do up here. These, when you can use your shift to move these, and so you can change between different manipulators here, or what have you, and the rate of change of these values as well, and they also change between linear and hyperbolic between there with those. Right, first thing we do. Okay, so we've got this. First thing you should always do is go into preferences, edit preferences, file preferences, save preferences, reference preferences, save preferences. No, I want to edit preferences. Where have we got it? File, reference. I'm looking for preferences. Arnold, help. File, increment, save preferences. I want to save preferences. Edit preferences, undo. Okay, reference preferences. Where have they changed? Move preferences around. Create reference. Edit preferences. Should be edit preferences, undo. Edit preferences. Let me just hang on. Windows preferences, under Windows preferences. That's where it is. There we are. Right. Okay. Preferences. I know how to use it. It's been a while. Okay. We have an undo. First thing is to find, there's lots on here, is to find the undo thing. There we go. And the undo is on. And at the moment, the queue is infinite. So that's good. Okay. Make sure the undo is on. That's the important thing. And enable incremental save. So if we go to saving, settings, animation, file projects, incremental save, Windows setting preferences, file projects. Yes, we've got incremental save here, somewhere here, auto save, incremental save. Where's my incremental save? File projects, enable incremental save, auto save, enable. Recent history, increments 4, projects 10. Incremental save, image automatically upload. Have they moved it? File references, file projects, project settings. Yeah, not going into project settings this way, but project settings is very important. We've got auto saves and increments 4, recent history size. It's not in where I expected it to be. Version, ignore version. File references, time slider, save actions, incremental saves, not here. There is an incremental save option, but what I would say is make your own incremental saving, and we'll look at that next time. Incremental saving, once I get all the drivers sorted, and remember where it is. It is in file projects. Default project setter. This isn't set up at the moment. Always starting this project. Recent. We'll look at that next time. Probably on Monday, maybe. But anyhow, while we're in here, we're in the preferences. The different UI elements we can change, we can hide. If you lose things, go to preferences and you'll be able to put them back again. The worst one is to just lose that status line, and you'll see how easy it is to lose it in a second. There's a view cube. Turn that off. Horrible thing. Blue pencil and hypershade. There's loads of things here. And also, if we go to display grid options, hang on, cancel display, and we go to grid options. Where's my grid options? Okay, we can show or hide the grid, and there is a enable incremental save, display grid options. Performance view, cancel. We'll save that for a minute. Now, if we go to display grid options, here we are. Okay, we have a length and width of the grid. Okay, but you've got subdivisions here. Set it to the units, the scale that matches your working set. So at the moment, these are set to grid every 5 units. So it's we'll look at that, setting that up next week, or next whatever. There's all sorts of different ways of changing the axes of there. Like, for instance, I can take out the grid lines and just look at the, that's not really showing very much. Take out the subdivision lines. So we have grid lines, you have the axes, thicker lines for axes. Perspective numbers, we can put numbers on these as well, so you can see if you wanted to, 5, 10, and so on. And we can have also graphic grid numbers. Okay, on axes. Oh, along the edge. Put them along the edge. Can't see what's going on there. So we'll hide these numbers. And also you can change the colors. Right, now, where are we here? So that's been like an hour and a half. Also, we've gone through what Maya is and a document that I'm using here. Hopefully that it's okay. Yeah, what's one problem here? Well, if I grab hold of this little bar, it comes out like that. You can grab anything out of here, and I close it, and you go, what? It's gone. But it's quite easy. You can go Windows, workspaces, and you can just reset the workspace factory default. Okay, that will get you out of it. You can drag most of these things out. I can drag the outliner out as a window. I can put it over here. Pop. I can also, if I right click at the bottom here, is that right? Or is it, they've changed it slightly. Yeah, it used to be able to right click on these little bars here. I can drag I used to be able to drag a shelf out. You can actually, which is really useful, is if you click on a little dotted line, you can drag that out. So if you've got, oh, come on. So if you've got, you're working on a mesh of booleans or something, or retopologize, you can drag these out, spread them all over if you've got enough real estate. What else is there? Trying to think. You can, in this panel, tear off this panel. So now we've got nothing in there. Oh, it's defaulted to the lovely hypergraph. We can bring out a panel, and I can put it on my other screen, which you can't see. Okay, but if you want to put it back, we can just hold that line and it will come back in, and then we end up with this panel at the bottom here. But that's okay. I can just hide that panel. How do I hide this panel? I'll probably just drag it off. Why have I got a panel I can't get rid of? That's an annoying thing. So I've got perspective view. Why have I got a panel here? So let's go back to panels. Perspective. So I've made that. You can change any panel to another panel. It can get a bit crazy. Let's close that. So you can split this as well. Like for instance, I could go to, let's see if I can go 2 panes side by side, poop, and then I can get this panel, and I can go, let's have a look now. Let's go to, let's go perspective, stereo, orthographic, side panel. Now we have 2 panels that I can do. You can lock these together as well if you wanted to. So that's a quick overview of Maya. It's not too bad. I'm going to get the drivers fixed so we don't have that. Has it stopped? Oh yeah, we've still got a shimmering going on, but at least a hotbox is working. Yeah, still working, but we'll sort that out. For in future, I'm going to keep this as a 19 standard HD. What else have we got for that's basically everything. So we've got some other bits of some other panels there. All these can come off as well. We can tear them out and we can put them in, put them back again. Like for that, I wanted that to go into here. Careful, pop. And that can come back in again. And the attribute editor. We haven't got anything selected. So we go to attribute editor, modeling toolkit, yeah, and so on. That's it, yeah. So we've got select. Select tool, lasso, paint, move, rotate, scale. We can change these to different doodads. That hides the outliner where all the objects are. That's it for today. I think that's been an hour. And what I would have asked my students to do. Oh, by the way, we won't be doing any animation. So we could actually just go to the Windows and General Editors, modeling editors, and just stick workspaces, and we can just go to modeling standard if you wanted to. But I don't know, window general editors, yeah, it's not really that useful. We'll go back to general workspace but you can hide these if you wanted to. And if you remembered how to do it, UI elements, we can go change the, let's just tear off that one. Okay, and we can get rid of the range slider, the command line, not the command line, and the time slider. There we go. And status line if you wanted. No, you want the status line. And you can change the toolbox. There's all sorts of UI elements. They're so different. But the most important one is restore UI elements. Oh, okay. Show all UI elements again in that particular thing. But we won't be using it, so we'll be just turning the animation tools off for this session. Right. Right. One more thing. I'm going to keep going because I want to see if I can change drivers. So bear with me. I think I might be able to do it live. So I need to go to drivers, studio drivers, update available. How do I change drivers? Can I change drivers live? Ob Studio, discover drivers. What's fixed? Previously installed. So studio drivers. Okay, I'm going to download that. It shouldn't take too long to download. And I'm just going to see if it updates without killing obs, and we'll see if it's any better. Because it's 10:30. I'm like half an hour over, but I have gone through the documents. If you're there, Andy, while that's loading, I've got. Where's the Word document gone? I don't know what Word looks like anymore. Oh, here we go. Let me show the favorites. Fundamentals 1.1. Yeah. So we've got a. I did a little document. Got AI to make me a document. It's not perfect, but it will do. So if you are able, if you want to, have a look and I don't know if you want to follow along, because you can download. It's just all the stuff that I'm doing in these 12 sessions. Okay, let's see if it's installed. Hang on. Express, continue. Is this going to work with obs? Let's see if it works with obs. Oh, they're really pushing that NVIDIA Spark thing, so that we become tech slaves to the technocracy. Let's just include this. It shouldn't make anything too bad, but if it goes doolally, then let me know. Come on, load it. I want to see if, because I remember it was really playing up while I was having the game drivers installed. So we'll see what happens. While that's working, if you want to find out what Maya's about, which I think you do, because 3D Studio Max, I think it was, just have a look through here. And there is if you want to follow along and enjoy, you can download the free trial for 30 days. I think it's 30 days, and follow along. It should be fun. We'll leave that working. So that's everything today. Let's get out. I need to go to object mode. Yeah, look, that is definitely not right. I will. Oh, is that on Google Drive? You can DM me on Discord and share. Yeah, we'll put it on Discord. I'll put the little notes on Discord. Oh, and also I was showing everyone.